Which S&P 500 targeted 20 fund is better for retirement? Hey guys, it's Doug the Retirement Guy, back with you for another episode. After my last video, I had so many different comments about the targeting that people said, well, what do you think about the S&P 500? So we did another video here of two very close targeting funds, SPYT versus XPAY. Are these good for retirement using the S&P 500? Well, we're going to find out the income, the growth, the total returns, as we usually do in our comparison series. You guys seem to love these things. We're going to keep doing it because this again was brought to us by a couple of, was more than just one. It was multiple different YouTube subscribers. So grab your mug, fill it with your favorite beverage. I got mine today. I have the delicious St. James red raspberry tea in my cup, and we're going to sit back. We're going to give you all the information you guys need today. Now, before we go forward, important disclaimer we have to do. This is for educational entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice. Past performances do not guarantee future results. If you need financial advice, always contact a financial advisor, as investment involves risk. So our big thing here is the $100,000 headline, and the question behind it is, if I put $100,000 in this fund that's targeting 20%, am I getting $20,000, a $1,600 paycheck? But the question is, where does it all come from? What's the cash source? What's the NAV impact? What's your total return? What's your portfolio role of this? Why are you guys looking for this? Are you just trying to get to that magic number of 20%? If you're not pleased with the 10 or 11% that we're currently getting, I understand the drive, but here's the warning. 20% distribution targets is not a 20% yield or a guaranteed return. The whole thing is, again, throwing a dart at the wall, hoping to hit 20%. That's what they're doing. They're saying up front, we are going to target 20%. We're not saying we're going to hit it. We're not saying we're going to nail it. It's going to say we're going to become as close as we can to 20%. And the question is it even possible with S&P 500 without losing NAV? So let's do a quick comparison of the two funds. Both of them are looking at a 20%, like I said, a 20% targeted yield. They both pay out monthly. The 1-year NAV total returns, I'm giving a lot of my information up front here, give you what we're doing at, 18.41 to 21.6. So already I can tell you XPAY is looking better because it's got a 1-year NAV, and that means you were able to keep your 20%. But since inception, we're at 15.14 and 16.81, so it looks like we just had a good year. Expense ratio 0.92 to 0.49. ROC's been used, 82% to 100%. And both funds came out in 2024, so very, very close comparisons between the two. So let's first off talk about SPYT. This is the S&P 500 ownership plus daily call spreads. SPYT is actively managed ETF that combines fundamental equity ownership in a high-frequency option income engine, which is 99.8% of the assets are in IVV. Okay, which is iShares S&P 500 program. Now this one sells the call higher strikes and buys calls at a lower strike. Okay, so what they're doing is they're setting their potential to sell a higher stake, a higher strike price if the market goes up. But they're also buying for a little bit of protection as downward trend is in case it comes through. I put the little screen up here. You can see where you can lose money, where you can gain money, where the risk is at, to give you an idea how their strategy actually comes about. Now, XPAY is more synthetic S&P 500. It hasn't managed its withdrawals. The synthetic engine is deeply in the money. SPY Flex. Now, that's a big one, flexing. Call options to match up what the S&P 500 price movement is doing. It avoids direct stock ownership to basically specifically manage distribution strategies. It has the exposure to the S&P 500 through the SPY Flex options. So 20% managed payout is the formula that they're using. So what they're trying to do is that managed withdrawals is to target the cash flow that they need to get that 20%. So let's talk a little difference, what the difference between the two strategies are. I call it the engine versus the formula. So Defiance uses the SPYT. It's a direct ownership of the S&P 500 through the IVV as a core asset. The Income Strategic sells daily SPX credit calls, spreads, and trying to generate that 1.7% monthly premiums. The variable payout is the monthly payout depends strictly on market premiums and strategy results. While the XPAY from Roundhill is a synthetic exposure deeply in the money SPY flex call options. The income is fixed 20% annual distribution based on prior December NAV numbers. The predictable payout, structured monthly payments can exceed returns and draw from funds assets. Understand this one. They've already structured the monthly payouts and it can exceed the returns and draw from the funds. So you already can answer the question, why did I say they already have a stronger total return, higher at 20%? Is because it's using a fixed 20% of their December of 2025 NAV. So what they established back in December, then they do their calculations to give you 20% of that number. So this leaves them more in a position to try to build throughout the year to hit and rebound what they need. They already know how much money they need to generate. They go out and generate it. But if they need, exceed the returns and draw from fund assets to make sure they achieve those numbers to pay you. That's a true hardcore ROC. So the headline yield and the portfolio earnings. So the first one we're going to look at here is SPYX or T. Distribution yield, about a 20% target. We've been saying that right through. The reality though is a 0.26%. What does the SEC yield really mean? And 0.26% means they're collecting some interest and some natural distributions or dividends from their holdings, which means basically 19.7% must come from their strategies of their option premiums. That means there's nothing behind this thing other than their option premiums pushing things forward. Okay. Now with XPAY, they've already put their numbers on the table. They already do what they've done. They're doing a withdrawal program. So they're selecting so much out each and every month to pay you, often resulting in 100% ROC characteristics. So you have to pay close attention to their assets under management. How well are they actually doing? Now let's take a look. Is that 20% actually sustainable? Is this the big hurdle? Look at the price change that we've had. When we look at SPYT, they're down 5.55%, while XPAY is down 3.71%. So they have negative growth on both of these funds because they're not built for growth. They're built for generating income as much as they can. But every fund always needs growth, because what you're doing is you're just taking your money and giving it back to you, hit that 20%. So in the picture I have right here, I would say neither one of them technically are feasible to do a 20% total return to you, because losing money should be deducting from the yields because you're losing your actual core value. Now, when we take a look at total returns, 1 year total returns, XPAY leads by 2.42%. But again, neither one of them are at 20%. So these are actually not hitting their targets. They're putting the dart closer, but they're not in the bullseye. Over 12, this is why I always do 12 months, 1 year. You tie into things from the past. You tie things to the future. Put it all together to see what you really get. And what we're seeing right now is 18.43 for XPAY, 16.01 for SPYT. And the answer to it is if you have a 20% yield that you're trying to achieve, you're 4% light or you're 2% light. So total return tells you whether the strategy is actually working or not. And I'm telling you now, neither one of these two strategies are technically working. But the XPAY is definitely giving you a preset number that they're working from because they're working from past December. Now, XPAY's fees are lower. And this is a crucial piece. But, again, expense ratios are for long holding. I don't think either one of these two are in retirement are long hold term pieces. I think these are pieces that you just, if you need a boost of something, if you want to play along, I don't think where they belong in a retirement package in either way. But this is the difference, 0.92, very, very high versus 0.49. Now the tax side of things, how RLC mechanism actually works. XPAY is actually giving you 100% ROC. SPYT has so far given about an 82% number. Now, it uses SPX index options, so that means some of the contracts may receive Section 1256 numbering. And that's why their ROC is a little bit lower. And if you don't know what ROC really is, this is a return of capital. I've done many videos on this, so you guys can look in the back history. You can see the videos on this and really understand these. But really, it's a short version of it. It's a cost-based reduction. So they can say that they're returning your capital, and all they're doing is lowering your cost basis of buying it. And when you get to a zero base, you then are paying taxes on those. And normally those are going to be in capital gains, but they'll be long-term because you've held it long enough. The other one would be deferring, and it's not free. It's not free taxes. You're going to pay somewhere down the line. Now the question is where you're going to hold these two. Well, if you're holding them in a retirement fund, traditional IRAs or Roth IRAs are probably, they have their own rules, so it doesn't really much matter either one. But if you're going to have it in a brokerage fund, I think XPAY has a more predictable total program with the ROC more dialed into it and understanding it. But for me, guys, it's the total return number that you need to be focusing in on. So if you're going to put this in a fund, accordingly. XPAY definitely is going to be in your taxable, and both of them IRAs are not going to make a big of a difference. I have to use my scorecard. I got to use my scorecard for you guys of this one here. Headline distributions, well, they're tied. Both of them saying they're going to hit 20%. Payment predictability goes to XPAY because they're already pre-establishing their numbers back from December. Expense ratio is definitely lower with XPAY. 1 year total return, XPAY is winning that one. Tax deferring is XPAY. But I like the active option income story from XPYT first. I think that one has a better chance of actually generating income while XPAY is working in the past and in the rears. But is this a complete retirement solution? I'm going to tell you straight out again. I've said this through the times. Neither one of these two are, for me, as a retirement piece. These are playing games in the ETF market, trying to generate more income, trying to get people who are chasing yield to get into it. And on this channel, we don't chase yield, which is probably why I don't like these funds in any way, shape, or form. My final verdict, if I have to give you a winner, well, XPAY is going to be my winner. Basically, it's going to give you a stronger NAV return, but not giving you 20%. Don't play the game here. I know these are going to show you a 21.36, and you're going to say, Doug, you got to learn to do math. 20% is smaller than 21, so I gained more. But I also proved to you that the 1 year total return program is not paying out those yields as we talk about. The fees, you're playing games again with lower fee at 0.49%. That's for, I think these are marketing pieces, to be honest with you. 0.49, low expense ratio. Well, but you're gambling. You're really gambling here. The predictable managed distribution formula, that is a positive to it. But again, I just don't like what's going on here. Let me know your thoughts, what you guys think. I don't even think these things are good for a satellite roll. I don't think they have any part of it. You got to watch the total truth of the total return, and you got to monitor the NAV health. It's way too much work for a retirement who should be enjoying their life as they go through. Let me know in the comments below. Am I too negative? Am I too hard on these guys? Just tell you the way it is, because I don't take advertisers. I don't take some sponsorships. I get to tell you the way it is. I am unbiased. We did coffee mugs. We did travel mugs. We still are doing it. You can look in the description down below. But I did that stuff so I don't have to be bought out by other companies. Let me know your thoughts. Love to hear from you. Leave them comments below. And also hit that like button if you like what we're doing. It helps the channel the most.